On the 8th of December last year, it was portrayed that our president, Donald Trump, had made quite the remark on the delicate issue regarding Israel and Jerusalem. Now, it may not be common knowledge to the everyday student, but as we know, the capital of Israel is Jerusalem. But it wasn't always like that. There are vast internal conflicts between the Palestinians and the Israelis that fall back to the mid 20th century. A war happened between the two occurring in 1948, and it's still an ongoing struggle to this day. The Palestinians believe that they own the land, that they own Jerusalem, and it belongs to them. But then again, so do the Israelis. So when President Trump stated and publicly announced that Jerusalem belongs to Israel, can you tell it caused a lot of trouble? Jerusalem is the holiest city in the world for Judaism, being the former location to the Jewish temples and the capital of the ancient Israelite kingdom. For Muslims, however, Jerusalem is the site of Muhammad's night journey to heaven, and for Christians, Jerusalem is the site of Jesus' crucifixion. The 86 other countries that have embassies with Israel stand strong with keeping things how they are, obviously, ultimately leaving President Trump a lot of doubt to his choice of words. For most of the countries in that area already hate America, we would be the only embassy to be located in Jerusalem. The other 86 embassies are located in Tel Aviv. And for Trump to officially call it under the name of Israel, it most certainly ticked off the Palestinians. To change the capital would throw the already existing balance between the three religions of the area, and that would be even more chaotic than things are as of now. So we would only ruin and worsen the scenario. This would not be such a problem if it wasn't for the fact that this is a one-off decision delighting Trump's base, which is for Christians and pro-Israel donors. Solutions have been made, but not really enacted. For example, certain parts of the city can belong to a certain group and the differences can be split, but this was never called upon.
Jerusalem is an important location to the world. That being said, one can find multiple evidences in Fareed Zakaria's column about Jerusalem. The evidences in Zakaria's column could center around Jerusalem itself, terrorism and violence, foreign relations, possible solutions for the Jerusalem conflict, and religion. For example, if one is presented with an argument regarding religion, one can write how Jerusalem is important to the three major Abrahamic religions of the world, as backed up in Zakaria's column. Zakaria also mentions in his column that all 86 countries that have embassies in Israel have them in Tel Aviv. Although this is a shift from Jerusalem, this is still vital evidence that could be used elsewhere, for example, if one needed evidence regarding foreign relations. Zakaria also presents a solution to the Jerusalem problem. He states that the government could carve out the eastern regions of the city and give it to the Palestinians, however, asserts that it would not really do much and would most likely face opposition. Nonetheless, this can be used in an argumentative essay as evidence for presenting a possible solution to the Jerusalem conflict. Zakaria writes in his column about the safety and stability of the Middle East as well. One could use this evidence as it is stated that Israel is now a superpower in the Middle East, and that this could affect terrorism and violence in the nation and in the surrounding areas. In the end, Zakaria writes about the prosperity of Israel and Palestine and marries them to other nations in similar situations. He compares Israel to Switzerland and Palestine to Bangladesh. This can be used if one is ever presented with an argument regarding the economy of Israel, the economic situations of the Middle East, of Palestine, overall like that. Jerusalem, Israel, and Palestine would also be extremely important as evidence in an argumentative essay on an AP test, as many of the prompts on the AP test deal with current affairs and things going on right now.
As you can see in the article crafted by Fareed Zakaria, he has a straightforward way of portraying his style when writing his articles. He often writes about modern-day issues involving President Trump usually, and issues regarding him. His writing style includes descriptive and informative writing and bringing attention to real-world problems, involving relying facts to his audience and bringing a solution to that problem that he is talking about specifically. The author uses formal and concrete diction in a way that portrays the serious political message he is trying to get across regarding the Jerusalem issue in this article in particular. He is not necessarily being negative or saying anything wrong. He is just simply stating facts and backing the facts up. Fareed Zakaria is calling attention to violence and terrorism in the Middle East that hasn't seemed to go away in this article in particular. As for syntax, he uses more short, simple, declarative sentences that state facts. He typically does not include his opinion in his writing. The subject, Fareed Zakaria writes, are on significant subjects that are useful to those who want to know more about current controversial events in the world and what we, as Americans, can do about them.
Fareed Zakaria made changes to make sure that children were getting the education they needed, and he didn't make money a big deal. He didn't care if they were poor or rich. All he cared about was that children needed to attend school on a daily basis and receive an equal education like everybody else. He knew that the United States was failing in education and tried everything to make that change. The United States is a country that does poorly in mostly every dimension. It is below average in literacy and technology proficiency, and it is third from the bottom in inequalities of skills. Although he knew this, he believed in the students and knew that they can improve in all dimensions. People are stating that the only way the United States will improve the education is by taxing the rich. Fareed doesn't want to fix it that way because he wants everybody to be equal and receive the same thing. The United States had a big gap in scores between rich people, educated parents, and poor, uneducated parents. But he didn't care of what the scores had to say. He didn't base your education on your social class or how educated you were. Students are capable of doing everything at school, and the survey they took proved that their strength is in problem solving. Fareed states that people are able to develop skills, but if they start out with bad education and low skills, then that will affect their lives. Basically, he's stating that you have to start off good to end good. All Fareed wants is for there not to be inequality and for everybody to receive an education. Like Pikeli said, they really need to reduce inequality. They need to reform the system, spend money where needed, such as early education, and get to work at it now. To us, Fareed Zakaria is a great person and a role model to look up to because of all his accomplishments and changes he has done with education and other things as well.
Overall, this project made us understand the whole concept of this writer's profession. Fareed Zakaria is an American journalist and author. He is a columnist for Newsweek, editor of Newsweek International, and editor-at-large of Time, the host of CNN's Fareed Zakaria GPS, and writes a weekly columnist for the Washington Post. Esquire magazine in 1999 said Fareed is the most influential foreign policy advisor of his generation. Then in 2010, Foreign Policy named him one of the top 100 global thinkers. Since then, that is when he started to host Fareed GPS, in which is worldwide and in-depth interviews with heads of government. He's talked to people like Barack Obama. Zakaria has proven talking to government officials to make a change. He is a person who takes action and is willing to talk out a problem in order to get a solution. Fareed Zakaria has gotten accepted to plenty of universities as well, including Johns Hopkins, Brown, the University of Miami, and Oberlin College. Clearly, all of the universities wanted a person like him to attend and be a role model at their college. In New York and liberal education, he is known to be an accessible, necessary defense of an idea under siege. Fareed has even been on a talk show called The Convo, in which he is fighting for students' liberal education. He believes that although math and science are important, the humanities should not be forgotten either. He is the voice for students. He takes action for the opportunities that the students are not able to take. With that being said, he has earned many respect with the parents and teachers that just want the best for the students.